It's the Monster Ribs.
Yes, we got to give Dan a lot of credit for we've done voices here on the show before. Dan, I think sits among kings in terms of voices. Yeah,
he's got some good pipes on him.
So for those who don't know, the EJ released on the main channel, and I think it's important at this stage that if all you do is listen to this podcast, and thank you, that's super cool, but like we actually edit content elsewhere.
Yeah,
this is like extra to us, honestly, and the other channel is where like all the editing effort goes into. Well, yeah, one of these days I should make an actual like, here's who we are, here's what we made, here's what's already available to you, like, you know. But anyway, so yeah. EJ wanted to do this thing about what would happen if you made Snickers Ribs, and we were just kidding around in Discord about like, you know, Dan of course has been on the show doing the Monster Ribs song, and then the dude, much like he did for the holiday special, he pulled through with this like really awesome rendition of. I thought, yeah, his vocals especially.
Monster Ribs.
Out from kitchen, Drax's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He exclaimed in a panic, there must be some mistake, and said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvanian steak?
It's now these ribs.
It's now the monster ribs.
The monster ribs.
That you can eat with a bit.
Don't make a mess
when you're enjoying your ribs.
The monster ribs.
It's now the monster ribs. It's good. Igor, you impetuous slob. Save some ribs for the rest of us. Ribs good.
Seriously, kudos and props to him, because he, like I told him, it's like, you made a 7 out of 10 video, an IGN 8.5, maybe even a 9 actually. Yeah. But it was definitely pulled through. Like I said, when you live with creative, you work with creatives, they flake out on you all the time, so there's always the plan B. And I was like writing the script, and it was pretty like tight because, you know, I'm making these things fast. So I was like, oh, I'm writing the script. Should I write that Monster Ribs song in? I know you like expressed interest. And he's like, oh yeah, go ahead, EJ, do it. And I was like, okay,
Monster Ribs.
I'll do the Monster Ribs. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna write it in with the thought that it's going in. And then he sent the file, and I was like, this is better than I could even. He like added an extra verse in, so I put that on the end of the video. It was awesome. It was awesome. And I might make a version of it where it's the whole song, and I'll just have a bunch of B-roll. Maybe I'll get more takes of me doing the dance over it.
That was the thing last year when he did Bleak Midwinter, which was great for like an intro to the holiday special, and then he did the Mummers song, and I'm like, this is amazing to have the entire Mummers, like our own. I guess what we should have done probably is rewritten the lyrics, but how can you rewrite the lyrics to the Mummers song?
No, you can't.
But I was like, where am I going to stick the whole Mummers song? And I was like, I'll tell you where. B-roll of pouring cheese onto pasta. I mean, where else?
Hark, what's the noise out by the porch door? Granny, 'tis Mummers, there's 20 or more. Her old weathered face lightens up with a grin. Any Mummers, nice Mummers, loud in.
I wanted to just express an emotion, if that's possible.
Of course.
So, like, one of the most fun things about BoxMac show on the other channel. I'm more sensitive now to. There's this one guy in Discord, Kurt, who has been like listening religiously to the podcast, and he had not watched any of the main channel. And like, we make feature length movies, and we've been doing all this stuff. It's so funny to like, you know, like sweat your ass off your whole life on creative works. And, I mean, really, like, you know, like it's sacrificing everything to make these creative works. And then somebody's like, I just want to listen to you guys bullshit in an unedited and I'm like, well, that's great, but like, I was like, just be real with me. Why aren't you watching? Like, if by now you like the personalities, why wouldn't you go check out the main channel? And he was like, honestly, I understand that it's a lifestyle channel, and I got I was like, is it though? I mean, I know that it's like nonfiction. Yeah, technically, it's more comedy than man.
Yeah, and if you watch Box Mac, it's almost like a version of this podcast, but with John and Frankie sort of reviewing mac and cheese, but mostly not.
Mostly disengaged from the task at hand. I think, because we started doing Box Mac when, we eventually like accumulated some viewership over there, but we started out with nothing, like you do. And I just, we were having fun making it, and we were between movies basically, and I got a kick out of the idea of doing like a Halloween special. And at the time, the concept was very much like, wouldn't it be funny if you've been going along, you've watched like 15 of these things, you have a very established format, and then suddenly, you're watching this kind of like made for TV drama about John or something, that was kind of like where my head, I remember like fantasizing about like, what could that look like? And what would that be? And then we had a blast, cause we got to like flex our creative muscles and stuff. Yeah, and get outside of this lifestyle.
I was thinking about like the dowels per second or whatever. Remember we had the we had like a stick glued to the craft keeper's chin, and it would like fall out every once in a while.
It was shot right over here in the corner where the arcades are now. We had like an actual fog machine when we could have just done CG fog.
I know, that's true.
So we were like pumping, and Gary and Zach were pumping the fog, and they were puppeteering the hand of the skeleton, and I was doing his mouth, and we couldn't get I think we made like a glue gun encasing for the dowel, and then we were just kind of flapping the mouth, and so we would say dowels per flap or something.
Yes.
Flaps per dowel.
Flaps per dowel.
Because it would keep falling out. Anyway, fun to do that. Then we did it the next year. Then the next year I had a child, and so we did like a kind of more like a Conjuring type, horror movie, and that one was really fun. It was kind of like a sequel to the first one. And then, and plus we established like, and at Christmas time, we also, sweat our balls off making these things. So keep coming back here to the 300 views per episode show where we work day and night on it. So you establish a precedent, and we kept up that precedent for many, many years, even past having children. I remember the first year we did the best one, I think, Mystery Science Theater. We did Max 3 Science Theater. And Matt built these amazing sets and these puppets, and it was just like incredible. And I had like a newborn, and I remember, I was getting like fatter too, and like life was getting more difficult, but I still was like, I'm going to edit these anyway. I'm going to make these anyway, no matter what, kind of psychotic behavior at a certain point. And, where I don't know, like you're just trying to like fill some void, because it certainly wasn't for the ad revenue. It certainly wasn't, it's not it's not our job,
Yeah. I think there was camaraderie in making them. The community has always been very active and very supportive, and, so
if it's been 1,000 people, they're an extremely engaged 1,000 people, so it's like it very much inspires you to want to up yourself and stuff. But we did it for then we did Boxdemic, which I personally love.
Hi, I'm from Pit Barrel Accessories. We have an appointment today?
Oh yeah, come on in. Wow, $20,000 for a grill?
Yes.
Where are you gonna put it?
Come, and I'll show you.
I had a blast making Boxdemic because it was shot it on like a shitty camcorder. And then we did a False Graph, which was like a found footage type of thing where we actually like went way out to like Connecticut to pick up like tons of false graph. Then we accidentally broke the bowl, which became part of the story. So like craft a narrative around it. And then another one I really enjoyed, which was the championship, like the reality show.
Right.
Where we have like Southern accents.
Well, yeah, we came up with that like the day of, basically. Yeah. Because we had another idea, and I was like ready to shoot it. What was the original idea? I don't even remember.
Was it like a Nosferatu or something?
Yeah, there was some. Yeah, I think maybe that was it. We had some other idea. I was like, I'm ready to film anything. And then I think it was like even the night of, really late at night, you were like, we're doing something else. we're doing a cook-off show, and I'm like, far out. Let's do it. We had Gloria at her grandmother's house. Nina and I had the night together.
I remember we got Chinese food. We went to Aldi's. We saw like the Halloween cheeses. We're like, good, sweet, like Halloween cheese, you know. And then we were like, while we were eating, when we were about to go get props for the other idea, whatever it was, I remember we what the fuck was it? Like what? The next day, I was planning on shooting something else. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know what we would have shot, but I remember we were watching Food Network Halloween stuff, which we've always enjoyed, like a Halloween baking championship, and we've always enjoyed Halloween Wars. That's a fun one. It's like crafts and food. And we just started, like, you know, like we do, like you start imitating the contestants, and then we started making each other laugh. And then we were like, we should just do this, you know, because it is a cooking show, you know? So kind of like made its way back. And last year we dressed up. I shaved my beard. We did like another fall mac. So it was like the first time that we were like, it's not going to be like the big kind of like high concept thing. And then this year was the first time that we just did a Halloween box mac. So we still did a box mac episode, but it wasn't like a big high concept. We were in costume and stuff. I dressed up as Wednesday Addams, which I think is a crowd pleaser. And, but we also did a no views. We also did like a family video that's coming out this weekend. We also did a Junt's Cart with fall church fairs. Like there's going to probably be a Thanksgiving thing. There's certainly going to be great. So like,
Yeah.
And the podcast never relents. So it's
Monster Ribs.
Yes, you did Monster Ribs. So there's still tons of it. It's funny because, so this is all of this to say, there's still this nagging guilt that I have when I phone it in. When I
phone it in. Very
yeah.
quote unquote.
And we've really hoisted ourselves on our own petard here. I mean, we've really fucked ourselves because we've gotten a name for ourselves, making fun of this other guy who says that he's too busy because he has children. And, you know, so like the moment you're like, I didn't do the thing because, and the next word out of them is like, no time.
My kids?
Do you have children?
Perchance there are children?
Yeah, like crap.
Is it 5:40?
But I'm like, let me tell you something. I don't think James is editing his stuff anymore.
Oh, yes.
For all my stuff, I'm still the editor. That means I work a day job. Then at nighttime, I am with my family because not even because I want to be. I certainly do want to be, but not even I actually have to be because like you have to be part of your family. There is like a dinner. There is like a bath time. There is, you know, there's all this stuff. When she goes to bed, I edit. So there's like, you know, if depending on how like thin I want to stretch myself, you know, because I also work out during the day.
Yeah.
You know, staying up till 11, you know, as you get older is like a difficult thing to do. But I'll do it. I'll power through to 11 to edit. And you find yourself night after night, your wife is on the couch watching something else and you're just editing and you're not spending time with her. And you're like, I can't wait until I'm done editing this thing so I can have like two nights before the next project comes along, before the next podcast is there, and you got to clip that up and make thumbnails for all that. And so, and yeah, it continues to be. So I'm not complaining, actually. I swear I'm not. There is a complaint coming, but but all I'm saying is that like I've prioritized this stuff because I still enjoy it and I still love doing it, and the podcast like has slotted in really nicely. But to do it requires like, yeah, I'm gonna like sacrifice a lot of free time basically to keep it going. But then sure enough, and not everybody, but sure enough, on the main channel where a lot of the podcast listeners don't ever hang out, people are like, what the fuck? How come I didn't get a huge special? And then on the
Pirate Pizza review.
Yeah. And then on the podcast channel where, you know, some people that's like the only place they go, and the main channel people don't like, they could barely be fucked with the podcast channel. So they certainly don't want that interfering with their box mac, with their lifestyle content. They're like, hey, how come this review of Shatterhand for the NES doesn't have more game clips edited to it? And I'm like, damn it. Yeah, have I split the baby too much here?
Nah, it's fine.
Is this where you end up having to hire a slob or two?
That yeah, you would, but we're not there yet.
No,
I think that there might be an opportunity in the future to hire a slot to slide clips on the clip.
I actually think, you know, like I'll say it here first. I think the Discord might be a good talent pipeline eventually. I think you know, so because you encounter people who are excited about stuff, but they're flakes.
Yeah.
But there may be a diamond in the rough eventually where it's like, okay, I know I've gotten to know you pretty well and you're enthusiastic and maybe you can help me out, you know?
Yeah. And I think we're fine. I mean, it's clearly like a clips channel. I don't know.
They're like, who the fuck wants to listen to two guys describe an NES game? Just show it to me, baby. Like, I don't know, dude. How about this? Like, help me out in my life a little bit. In another tab, Google Shatterhand long play. And while I talk, you watch that video. Okay? You just saved me a tremendous amount of trouble.
Just imagine it.
And that is easier than making a comment about how you're dissatisfied with my level of editing for this podcast clip. Luckily, we always get a few defenders. There's one guy who was like, I like it. It's like the radio. I listened to these two men describe it.
It is literally a podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast. In fact, we started out with audio only for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, we barely even had microphones.
But do you hear me a little bit? Like, we're just the concept of like, you're trying to kind of serve every master if you can, and then you end up like spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah, it's the too much butter over too much bread or whatever.
Scraped over too much bread.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but actually, you know, I'll bring it all the way back to Mr. Rolf. I do feel obligated to mention this, right? It would be like a podcast malpractice not to mention the Cinemassacre Truthers, 31 days of like they did a parody.
So I've only seen a few of them, but they're hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't keep up with the whole thing, I have to admit, and I actually was part of some preliminary discussions about like potential involvement, but it kind of there's like too many voices in the mix, and I had to like silence the Reddit DMs, and I was like, it sounds like you guys are on a good track, and they're very funny. They're very well done. This is some committed trolling. Again, I think when you commit this much to trolling, it can't be, it's not hateful at a certain point.
No, it's like, it's an inspiration. Well, yeah, there's some that are more trolly than others. There's different flavors. Every single one has a different flavor. There's ones that try to be more like old school James Rolfe, and some that are just memes after memes after memes.
Yeah. I especially like their intro where they have like Kieran and they have Justin.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Justin.
It's CinemassacreTruth. It's monster madness of the asshole-ish variety.
It's very funny. I think there's one of Mike going like, fuck, or whatever. My one critique would be that AI voice that they do. Like, this is James Rolfe and fucking, you know, like that, like robot voice.
Hello, I'm James Rolfe. Welcome to Monster Madness of the Asshole-ish variety. Unlike that fake plagiarized attempt last year, the following review of the angry video game nerd movie is a tale of a true alien encounter. And by true, I mean it's a shitload of fuck.
It like wears on me a little bit. And now that's going to sound self-serving because I did offer, I was like, I'll impersonate him and we could do it that way. And I think they were like, no, we like the AI voice. We're totally fine.
Yeah, there is some charm to the AI voice. I think there's something kind of funny about it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Oh, that was the other thing that kept me busy was I was on this like binge movies podcast this week.
Right.
Where I've talked about the 2000s movies and stuff. It was fun. We went for like 2.5 hours, maybe something like that. And yeah, it was actually fascinating how much we, for those who didn't hear it, the podcast was called Binge Movies. The guy booked me like half a year ago. His name is Jason. He's got like a real radio voice. Like it really, I felt like I was on the fucking radio.
Does he have much of an audience? What's his?
I really just don't know.
Is he like purely a podcast?
Yeah. Well, so he recorded it on Riverside, which is what we do here to record the video. So I was like, do you mind if you want to give me the video? I'll fashion it into something like maybe I could put on my channel. And he was like, just previews, like drive the traffic to my podcast. I was like, fine, very well, very well. But I wish he would put up just the fucking video on his YouTube channel like we do, because why not? He was like, well, because sometimes we ramble and I'm like, no, just put the whole thing up. Wait, how much are you going to edit this thing? You're going to edit it so much that it's audio only? Anyway, totally up to him. It's his show. But it was fun. And I was shocked by how many just how many like converging opinions. Like there were like little tiny things I picked up on in these movies that I thought I was going to be the only one to talk about, but like he was on the same wavelength. They're about the same age, and so there's a lot of cross-cultural references and stuff. But it was fun. But it was yet another. I had to watch 5. I had to also figure out a way to watch 5 movies during October while I'm editing all this other shit. And,
oh my God.
And so, and that whole like She-Hulk Andor, Rings of Power, House of the Dragon thing.
Oh my God. I'm so glad it's over. It feels like a weight off my chest when especially when like the final episode of Rings of Power, it was over. I was just like, and then the next Friday I was like, oh, this is beautiful.
Like when Frodo's like, it's gone. It's gone.
It's pretty much.
DJ was having fun. The cooking had just begun. The guests included Zach, Frankie, and Argent.